To welcome you to this meeting of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. I want to greet Honourable Adams, Honourable Polwane, Honourable Chauke Adonis, Honourable Shabango, Honourable Kanile, Honourable Mbiko, Honourable Peterson. A very warm welcome to Dr. Tembe as well. I also would like to greet our support team, Ms. Silly, Ms. Matthews, Ms. Abrams, Ms. Levendahl, and I don't see Mr. van der Westhuizen, but good morning to all of you. Colleagues, this morning is a preparation meeting as we get ready to embark on our interviews for the Commission for Gender Equality, the vacancies that have arisen. We will be going through some of the reports that we need to consider in preparation for the interviews. There are also some matters that I would like to address at the start. But first, let's consider our agenda for this morning. Ms. Silly, please, may I hand over to you?
Good morning, Chairperson and Honourable. We will look at the feedback on CGE. CEDAW and NYDA matters. We're also going to look at consider the SSA, HR and public commentary reports. And also we will have a closed session where we will consider the booklet for the interviews and then closure, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Silly. Honourable members, that is our agenda for this morning. We don't have a very long agenda. Good morning also to Dr. Leklape. Thank you for joining, Doc. Honourable members, that is the agenda. Please, can I take a mover and a seconder?
Chairperson.
Good morning, Honourable Mbiko.
Thank you very much. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to all who have joined here today. I hereby move the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mbiko. I saw the hand of Honourable Peterson.
Thank you so much, Chair. I second.
Thank you very much, Honourable Peterson. Ms. Silly, please, can we deal with any apologies?
Chairperson, I did not receive any apologies except for Honourable Polwane, who advised that she is traveling to Cape Town, so she might log off the meeting at some point. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Good
Thank you
morning,
very
Chair.
much. Good morning.
Good morning. It's Honourable Mailula. I'm in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mailula. Thank you for joining us. We are happy to hear your voice. Okay. Okay, colleagues, I just, before we Sorry, colleagues, I muted myself. Before we start this meeting, colleagues, I just wanted to provide some feedback on one or two items. Firstly, I wanted to note that we are requested, or we are supposed to consider the CEDAW report. This is the report that our department prepares on behalf of government, which is then submitted to the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. The report has not yet been referred to our committee. In fact, it was referred to the Speaker's office, but as far as I understand from correspondence that I saw from Ms. Abrams, the report was sent back to the department because there was one or two procedural matters that needed to be corrected. So we will try and find an opportunity to meet to consider the CEDAW report at a later stage. But I also wanted to bring to your attention, honourable members, that after this week, next Tuesday, when we meet to consider our outcomes of our CGE interviews, that will in fact be the last meeting for this term. And that is because the next week, the week thereafter, is a constituency week. And the last Tuesday, which is the 23rd, the National Assembly actually commences at 10 o'clock. So it means next week, Tuesday, is in fact our last official meeting. However, there are some items we still have to deal with, so we will have to see how we deal with the CEDAW report and other matters. Then I wanted to say, honourable members, in last week's meeting, when we met with the Commission for Gender Equality, the chairperson of the Commission, Advocate Sepenya Mogale, informed us that she sent us an 8-page letter from plenary concerning internal discord amongst commissioners, which had been referred to our committee. I then probed the matter and asked where this letter was that was sent to us. And in fact, it transpired that the chairperson of the commission had in fact referred this letter to the speaker and not to our committee. So I just wanted to make that clear that in fact we did not get that letter. I then messaged the chairperson of the commission, who then apologized for that error. She said that her office was supposed to have sent us a copy, and subsequently they have now referred that document to us. Colleagues, finally, I want to talk to you about matters at the National Youth Development Agency. I'm growing very concerned with regards to the negative media publicity that the entity attracts on a weekly basis. You would have possibly have seen that for the last 2 Sundays at least, the agency has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. Firstly, you will recall that when we met with them in Johannesburg, prior to us coming to Johannesburg, we had referred whistleblower complaints to the entity. When we met with them in Johannesburg, they had told us that they were busy with an internal investigation into the matters pertaining to the whistleblower complaint. And you will recall, colleagues, that in our budget vote report, we had made certain recommendations. We wanted from them a report on the alleged meddling in the affairs of the board. We wanted an update on the whistleblower matters. We wanted an update on the Audit Risk Committee appointments. Subsequently, for the last 2 weeks, the newspapers are reporting that, in fact, instead of looking into the veracity of the claims by whistleblowers, they are in fact now trying to hunt for the whistleblowers. In other words, they are using our taxpayer money to try and hunt down the whistleblowers, not looking into the claims that the whistleblowers made. I want to remind honourable members of the Protected Disclosure Act, which of course makes acts of hunting down whistleblowers illegal, firstly. Secondly, I've also noted some very concerning comments that some individuals are making pertaining to this committee and the role that we've got to play in terms of holding to account the National Youth Development Agency. There are some suggesting that this committee has got no role to play. Colleagues, I want to remind you that in the PFMA and the Constitution, our role as a committee is very clear in terms of oversight. And so really, I wanted to say that while these developments are clearly unfolding in a public space, our committee needed to also ventilate the issue and maybe come up with some resolutions on a way forward, colleagues. You will recall that on our program, we had also scheduled a meeting with SCOPA. We are expediting that meeting as well. But I wanted to put the matter on record this morning because I think as a portfolio committee, we need to obviously take a view, or we need to take some resolutions on this matter, because it is very worrying that there seems to be growing governance and leadership issues at the NYDA. So I would like to pause here. If there are any comments that members would like to make at this stage, please feel free to do so. As I said, Dr. Tembe is also in our meeting, so he would also be able to guide us if there are any questions that honourable members would like to ask at this stage, or any comments that you would like to make. I think we need to take a resolution on a way forward as it pertains to the NYDA, but I will pause to see if anybody would like to make any comments at this stage. Honourable members, are you all happy with the situation? Honourable Chauke Adwenas.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and apologies for not raising my hand. I would like to just greet yourself and honourable members and support team and everyone that is here, and Dr. Tembe. On the issue that you have just elevated now, Perhaps because we do have the audience of Dr. Tembe, may we humbly request a legal opinion on the matter in terms of how to exercise the powers of Parliament and the Portfolio Committee. That's number one. Number two, in terms of the allegations that have been made, both by the whistleblower and the ones that we have seen on media platforms, what would then be the best way in which they should be processed? Because they are of great concern in terms of governance within the institution. And we do understand that this agency is supposed to, service the needs of young people and not find itself always being in the media, but also being having allegations of this nature. And then lastly, in terms of, you spoke about SCOPA, I would just like to find out, in terms of the element of SCOPA coming in, what does that look like from a point of parliamentary oversight, and what are we expecting? Oh, lastly, Chairperson, sorry, is just to find out, have we received any form of written responses, both from the department or the ministry and also from the NYDA, in terms of some of the requests that we have made with the resolutions that were then taken subsequently after we had met with them in Johannesburg when they were presenting the APP, and also, if I'm correct, in terms of the correspondence and communication that you had sent out on behalf of the Portfolio Committee regarding the whistleblower complaints as to what it is that they are doing, and is it within the laws of this country? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chauke Adonis. Ms. Silly, can we quickly flag the letter I sent the NYDA and the response we got? Okay, I think what we can do, I can make available on the group is the letter being flighted? Okay, before we go to that, I think what we'll do is I will make available to honourable members the letter I wrote to the NYDA. Okay, here it is. Ms. Silly, can you just read that and then just read Mr. Makanya's response as well, the Deputy Chair?
Morning, Chair. This is the letter that was sent to the NYDA on the 27th of May, 2026. It reads, should I read through the letter, Chairperson?
Yes, just start here by the first paragraph.
Okay. Whistleblower complaints and board matters at the NYDA. The Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities received complaints from whistleblowers related to operations within the National Youth Development Agency. Please see attached for more details. Furthermore, the media reports pertaining to whistleblower complaints are concerning. To this end, the NYDA is requested to provide a comprehensive report on the veracity of these matters and how it is being dealt with. The report should be inclusive of the assessment and response by the NYDA's Internal Audit Unit and Audit and Risk Committee. The report should include but not be limited to the following. With regards to the NYDA board, updated on challenges identified by board members, key governance matters presently before it, and a report on the meddling in the affairs of the board. Details of whistleblower complaints, nature of complaint, how it was received, logged, and processed. Whether any decision has been taken, proposed, or authorized to appoint a forensic investigator, and if so, the legal basis, scope, cost, and purpose of such appointment. Whether the purpose of any such investigation includes identifying whistleblowers or staff members alleged to have communicated with the media. What measures are in place to protect whistleblowers and to ensure compliance with applicable laws, policies, and constitutional obligations? whether the minister or the department was informed of, consulted on, or approved any action relating to this matter. What steps are being taken to address the governance concerns that have recently appeared in the public domain, including any remedial or corrective measures? Outline process for dealing with whistleblower complaints. Submit whistleblower complaints policy. The committee remains cognizant of the provisions outlined in the Protected Disclosures Act, which states no employee or worker may be subjected to any occupational detriment by his or her employer on account or partly on account of having made a protected disclosure, and is therefore keen to hear how the NYDA has given effect to this act in dealing with whistleblower complaints. Moreover, having recently engaged with the National Youth Development Agency on its annual performance plan 2026-27, the committee identified several recommendations pertaining to the NYDA. As such, the committee requests a comprehensive report in this regard. Please refer to the committee's adopted budget vote report 2026 for more information. Please be advised that the above information should reach the committee by Friday, 5 June 2026.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Silly. We will pause here. I just want to point out that at this stage, Dr. Miyende has not responded to the committee, but the deputy chairperson did, and I will make available that response to honourable members. And then we will await to see whether the actual chairperson or the CEO provides us with a response that is different to the one that the deputy chair has provided to us. But Dr. Tembe, maybe Ms. Abrams, I want you to please come in and deal with the SCOPA matter that Honourable Chauke Adonis had raised. I think I'm also going to ask Dr. Tembe just to come in and guide the committee, as I said, in terms of our roles and responsibilities, because Dr. Tembe, there is now a push, it seems, whereby some are suggesting that this committee has got no oversight responsibilities over the NYDA. And I think, as I said in the beginning, my understanding is of the PFMA is that the NYDA is a Schedule 3 entity, and national public entities, according to the PFMA, are accountable to Parliament and of course then, in this case, accountable to the Portfolio Committee, the NYDA. And then secondly, Dr. Tembe, I would like to ask that in terms of the Protected Disclosures Act, now it states that no employee may be subjected to any occupational detriment by his or her employer on account of by his or her employer. So in this instance, where the board might have now gotten forensic investigators to be hunting for whistleblowers, if that is in fact proven to be true, what is the implication for the board as a whole in terms of legal consequences if it is proven to be true? So maybe you can just come in on our oversight responsibilities, the Protected Disclosure Act, and also some of the comments or questions that the Honourable Chauke Adonis had asked. Dr. Tembe, and then we'll go to you, Ms. Abrams.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members. On the issues that have been raised concerning NYDA, I think first, the Constitution is clear on that one because Section 55(b)(2)(b) of the Constitution, it says the National Assembly must provide for mechanism to maintain oversight of 1, the exercise of national executive authority, including implementation of legislation. 2, any organ of state. So the NYDA is an organ of state as defined in its legislation and also in the PFMA. So, secondly, even the NYDA Act provides for oversight, actually, the appointment done by the committee, even oversight done by the committee. Thirdly, even the NA rules, they are quite clear. Actually, it's section 167 and section 227 of the NA rules. In particular, I'll go to an extent because it's much more in depth, the NA rules 227. It says a portfolio 2271B says a portfolio committee must maintain oversight. One, the exercise within its portfolio of national executive authority, including the implementation of legislation. Two, any executive organ of state falling within its portfolio. Three, any constitutional institution falling within its portfolio. And four, any other body or institution in respect of which oversight was assigned to it. So oversight has been assigned to this portfolio committee concerning the NYDA. Furthermore, in C, it says, may monitor, investigate, inquire into, and make recommendation concerning any such executive organ of state, constitutional institution, or other body or institution, including the legislative program, budget, rationalization, restructuring, functioning, organization, structure, staff, and policies of such organ of state, institution, or other body or institution. D, may consult and liaise with any executive organ of state or constitutional institution. And E, must perform any other functions, tasks, or duties assigned to it in terms of the Constitution, legislation, these rules, the joint rules or resolution of the Assembly, including function, tasks, and duties concerning parliamentary oversight or supervision of such executive organ of state, constitutional institution, or other bodies or institution. I think the NA rules are much more detailed than any other, the constitution and the legislation in terms of oversight. I think that will put the matter to rest concerning the oversight. Secondly, on the issue of protected disclosure. So I think that act, especially in it's section 8 of the Protected Disclosure Act number 26 of 2000. It says any disclosure made in good faith, it counts those people, but I'll concentrate perhaps to see. It says a person or body prescribed for purposes of this section and in respect of which the employee or worker concerned reasonably believes that one, the relevant impropriety falls within any description of matters which in the ordinary course are dealt with by the person or body concerned. And two, the information disclosed and any allegation contained in it are substantively true is a protected disclosure. A person, section 8.2 says, a person or body referred to and prescribed in terms of subsection 1, who is of the opinion that the matter will be more appropriately dealt with by another person or body referred to or prescribed in terms of that subsection, must render such assistance to the employee or worker as is necessary to enable that employer or worker to comply with this section. So if the portfolio committee, without actually derogating anything, if it believes that actually another committee may be of assistance, it may refer the issue of the NYDA to that committee. But it does not actually negate anything from them from exercising oversight. So actually, section 9 of the Protesters Disclosure Act and actually defines what is the general protected disclosure. 9.1 says any disclosure made in good faith by employee or worker who reasonably believe that the information disclosed or any are substantially true and who does not make the disclosure for purpose of personal gain, excluding any reward payable in terms of any, is a protected disclosure. If one or more of the conditions referred to in subsection 2 apply, and 2, in all the circumstances of the case, it is reasonable to make the disclosure. So if the whistleblower is making this not for personal gain, then that is a protected disclosure. So the act is very clear. So the committee is enjoined, is mandated actually by the Constitution to exercise oversight, by legislation, by the NA rules actually to exercise oversight, also to assess. I think it's clear that if this is not made for personal reward or personal gain, then that is protected disclosure. So it cannot be a proper for the board to take a resolution to identify the whistleblower. What is of importance is that actually the substantive issues raised by the whistleblower are investigated and mechanism put in place actually to deal with those issues raised. I can pause there, Chair, at the moment and be willing to engage further should any further question arise. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tembe. In fact, in the correspondence that I have been sent by the Deputy Chairperson, he indicates that the terms of reference of this investigation by these forensic auditors were never submitted to the board for consideration or approval, and no board meeting adopted or approved the terms of reference. So that is another issue that we will have to consider at a later stage portfolio committee. But I think Dr. Tembe has put the matters to bed. I think there should be no further misunderstanding about our committee's role in terms of our oversight responsibilities. I want Ms. Abrams just to come in terms of where the SCOPA meeting arises from, although Dr. Tembe also touched on it, but there's a specific reason why we are scheduling a meeting with SCOPA, Ms. Abrams. And then I will allow for more comments or questions from members before we move on. Ms. Abrams?
Good morning, Chairperson, members and colleagues. Chairperson and members would recall that the NYDA's annual report for 2024-25 was late. So when it was ATC, that was the ATC number 4, 2025 on the 14th of January, that report and financial statement for the NYDA 24-25, including the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements and performance information for that year, was referred not only to our committee, but also to the Standing Committee on Public Accounts for consideration. So SCOPA got that referral via ATC. And following the committee's engagement on the annual report, I'll just highlight some of the concerns. The material going concern at the time of the uncertainty with 69.7 million deficit and negative net assets, concerns with regards to short-term obligations, grant disbursements, and the rest. So following the ATC referral, the committee's engagement with the NYDA, the committee actually took a resolution that you wanted a meeting with SCOPA. When the committee secretariats liaised, the day of 23 June was identified to have the meeting. However, as Chair's noted, there'd be a sitting starting from 10, so we would not be able to meet during that scheduled time. I've liaised with my colleague for Scopa, and she has communicated with the chairperson and the committee secretary. The chair's noted the importance of having to deal with that matter. So between our committee and their committee secretary, we will look to see how possible it is in the next 2 weeks, because we've noted that this week we're not able to meet because we're doing interviews. So Chairperson, we will hear from the committee secretaries if a meeting is still possible in the next fortnight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Abrams. Colleagues, the idea then is to identify a day where we'll obviously deal with specific matters as it pertains to SCOPA in that meeting, but also then to elevate the matters of governance and leadership failures, as well as the whistleblower complaints. So we're hoping to identify a full day. We have also said to SCOPA to look at the 12th. So it will then be a joint meeting where we will elevate all of these matters. Can I check if there are any further questions? I see hands of the Honourable Tsotetsi, the Honourable Leklape, and Honourable Peterson, followed by the Honourable Shabango and the Honourable Kanile.
Can I proceed, Chair?
Yes,
Chair,
please.
you'll also note my hand. Apologies.
Okay, please proceed.
No, thank you, Chair, and my apology to the meeting because I have joined late as a result of having been in other committee meetings. This is literally my third meeting of the portfolio committees today. But upon my arrival, Chair, I got a sense that there is a very unnecessary dispute that was being ventilated here around our standings on oversighting the NYDA. I think that is it's an unnecessary discussion because there is no committee of parliament that does not oversee the entities to the departments which it oversees. Having said that, Chair, let me move forward. The second issue is that when we were having a committee meeting in Gauteng, considering the APP of the National Youth Development Agency amongst the other entities, we will have interacted with the issue around the whistleblowers, and we inquired with the entity as to how do they plan to move with this thing. Or actually the entity volunteered information on how they're going to move with this thing. And amongst other things, they would have said that their organizational policy requires of them to investigate where these claims are coming from and so forth. And we're outright, Chair, in forewarning the NYDA that that might not be permissible in law. Meaning that whatever piece of regulation that is internal that requires of them to pursue whistleblowers, it would be legally problematic. And then clearly the legal advice agrees with what we were saying at that time. But what I think we must then do, Chair, because although we oversight the NYDA, we do not have the right to draft the policies to drive their internal affairs. I think perhaps we must invite them to come and make a holistic presentation of that regulation, which allows them to pursue people who are raising issues, who are alarmists, blowing the whistle around internal issues, so that we have an appreciation of what exactly is contained in it. And then afterwards, make a determination to maybe advise them to go and look at it, make a determination as a portfolio committee, and have it on record that the portfolio committee maybe raises certain issues around the legality of that regulation that they have. So perhaps ours is to call them, make them to present, look at the document, and make a determination as to which areas of the documents are, in our view, permissible in law. That will give us an opportunity to really oversight the whole entity and the pieces of regulations that are guiding its internal affairs so that they can be in line with the law. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much for those inputs. Honorable Dr. Leklape.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning to you and good morning to the members. I'm just concerned about this issue of external vigilantism, where they could go and come up with an external forensic audit. That is something quite serious, and we should not be soft on this issue. So we would need a question as to whether there's any firm that has been commissioned to do this work and if they started doing the work. Because I think we need an opinion as to whether that type of law firm that would take that type of work is really doing its duty in terms of the law, because they'll be complicit in violating the rights of whistleblowers. And this is something that is quite serious, and it is pervasive in government circles and in the public sector. And I think we need to act not just strongly, we need to act with speed. And we shouldn't be consulting with them. We should be ensuring that we uphold the rule of law. And if there are charges that need to be levied against those that have broken the law, we should do so. This is an independent entity that should not be treated like school children. If they don't listen to advice and they are against the laws, the statutes of this country, or they interpret them differently, we should be very strong on that issue, Chair. So I would want to get information as to whether any forensic auditor has been appointed and whether any work has been done, and that should be stopped, because that is endangering the lives of whistleblowers. This is how we get whistleblowers killed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Doc. I appreciate those inputs. Honorable Peterson.
Thank you so much, Chair. Greetings to everyone and to members of the public. Chair, I think Dr. Tembe and Dr. Leklape would have touched on the inputs that I would have wanted to make. However, firstly, Chair, I also want to say that it's concerning that the board appears to be directing resources towards identifying the whistleblowers rather than to address the substance of the allegations that have been raised. Now, I fear, Chair, that this approach would risk creating the perception that individuals who report wrongdoing will become the subject of investigation themselves. Chair, I think we must also understand, or rather realize, that whistleblowers play a critical role in exposing corruption. Now, if people believe that reporting wrongdoing may result in their identities being pursued by institutions, many people will just not speak up, or they'll choose to remain silent because they'll feel intimidated, for lack of a better explanation. And then in conclusion, Chair, I must say that this committee played a central role in recommending the appointment of this current board. So with that responsibility comes an obligation to exercise our oversight over the board's performance and conduct. So the committee can now not be expected to recommend appointments on behalf of Parliament and then remain silent when serious governance concerns are raised. Lastly, Chair, what is concerning is that the apparent pattern where the institution repeatedly finds itself in the public spotlight for governance-related issues. Yet, there appears to be a greater energy directed towards identifying those who expose concerns rather than addressing the concerns themselves. When the committee chair, when we ask questions to institutions or seek explanations or demand accountability, it shouldn't be viewed as hostility, right? Because this is precisely what Parliament is required to do on behalf of the public. So when we exercise our role as a committee to do oversight cannot be undermined by an institution or institutions that refuse to take accountability. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Peterson. It's now the opportunity of Honourable Shabango.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to yourself, honourable members and all members that are in the platform. Chair, thank you for this opportunity. Some of the questions that I wanted to, concerns that I wanted to raise, I think other honourable members, they've spoken to it. But Chair, one maybe from what you said to do with regard to response from the NYDA. I'm raising this because going forward, I think this is one entity with the chairperson, deputy chairperson, and the other members. If you say there is a response from the deputy chair and we're waiting for a response from the chairperson, is it because the response is not sufficient enough, or that's the expectation? Because for me, I think this is one unit. We need to get one response, either from a chairperson, if a deputy chairperson is delegated to respond, unless otherwise this was only for this specific matter. But going forward, I think we will expect to get one response because it's one entity. But maybe this will not suffice for this because if we take into consideration what Honorable Ziamo has raised, that we need to invite them. But Chair, I have a concern which I think already Honorable Lehlape spoke to it, that with whatever that the NYDA is planning to do, the use of public funds for that, because they are intending to use the forensic audit to investigate or track down the whistleblower, and they will be using public funds, of which for me that will be incorrect. But I hope that we're discussing with them. If they will agree to invite them, we'll have to put this into a stop. And also my other concern is how the NYDA reconcile the potential leak investigation with its legal obligation under the Act, the Protection Disclosure Act, which protects individuals who expose failures of the government or the irregularities. You know, this concerns me, Chairperson, because now the legal obligation for protection of whistleblowers and what they are intending to do, it contradicts each other. So I hope that we'll get time to be with them so as we can get answers from them. I'm just raising my concerns because they will use funds to track down the whistleblowers, and those funds, they are needed to implement their mandate, which is in relation to the development of young people in the country. Otherwise, I was covered with what other members have said. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Shabango. I think that is exactly the point. When we engage with them on this matter in Johannesburg, we are the ones that approve their budget. And at no point did we agree for them to use our taxpayer money to hunt down whistleblowers, which are, as we've all rightly pointed out, is against the law. We need to seek to protect whistleblowers as members of parliament. We cannot be closing our eyes when things are obviously not going as they should go. And we had a discussion, as Honourable Tsotetsi had pointed out, with them about this matter. And they were informing us that their internal processes are currently unfolding in terms of investigating the veracity of the claims, not investigating who leaked the information. So it's very disturbing, to say the least. Honourable Kanyile.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to you, greetings to colleagues and our support staff. Chair, I also have been largely covered by the colleagues that have spoken. However, I just want to request that because the letter that you have sent to the NYDA is part of the meeting and the response thereof, can you please furnish us with the copies so that we can also have an opportunity to go through those letters? And if possible, Chair, can you also get the National Assembly rules that Dr. Tembe was reading from? I think that was quite insightful. It will assist us going forward if we can have copies of the rules that he was reading. Chair, I just want to check. I'm actually in line with what Honorable Tsiamo raised, that we must call NYDA. NYDA must come and account in this portfolio committee and give us the full details of what is happening. Seeing that the meeting next week, as you have indicated, that it is the last meeting that we're gonna, an official meeting, can I suggest that we call the NYDA next week? If it's possible to find a way to add them in our program. My concern is that if you call them later than last week, it will be a little too late. Further to that, Chair, I also share the sentiments of Dr. Litlape. We cannot allow whistleblowers to be exposed in a country where we have witnessed a number of whistleblowers being killed. I think if they were investigating the content of the allegations, testing them, there is nothing wrong with it. But they simply cannot go around and looking for people that is raising an alarm with regards to what is happening in the NYDA and at the taxpayers' expense when we are sitting with such a high rate of unemployment. I think we have all seen the recent stats of the Q1, indicating that unemployment in the whole country has risen and the young people are the hardest hit. We should be here discussing measures in place for us to be able to cap the rate of unemployment, checking if NYDA is doing what it's supposed to do. Now, a portion of their budget is going to go to a forensic investigation that also looks like was only decided on by 1 or 2 people. I don't know how many people were involved there, because if I heard you correctly, you have said the letter from the deputy chairperson indicates that the decision was not made by members of the board collectively. I find that to be very problematic as well. We cannot have somebody running NYDA like they're running their spaza shop. NYDA is nobody's spaza shop. It was designed to assist young people. We also have the presidential program and inside them. All those programs, when you look at them thoroughly, they all have one purpose only. It is to create job opportunities for young people. That is why even during the debates, we have always been indicating to the NYDA that they must stop hosting these flamboyant events. That is not what we want, because a lot of money goes to these award ceremonies, a number of ceremonies in big hotels, big rooms where they invite stars and all of that. That is not going to create job opportunities. That does not help any young person that does not have any food in Liqua. Those are some of the issues that they raise to us, Chairperson. And it is so heartbreaking when you come across a young person that tells you that I only eat once a day because my family, they say I am unemployed. If I eat more than once, I'm wasting food. And at the same time, the same person is expected to rely on 350 rands. And one would have believed that this 350 was supposed to be a transition measure while we try and create job opportunities. Then we know young people, they use this 350 while they wait for the job opportunities to come to them. And yeah, I think Honorable Peterson has also indicated that we see NYDA almost every Sunday being on newspapers for all the wrong reasons. And this is not what we would have expected. And we tried to guide this board immediately after the president appointed them. Not only that, we fought so hard for this board to be appointed. All of us as members of this committee, we know very well what was happening at that particular point in time. Chair, I think it also will need to be clarified with regards to the sentiment that makes the NYDA believe that they don't report in this portfolio committee. This does not come from them. I believe that they are influenced by Minister Chikunga. I am saying this because in the last debate that we had for the budget vote, I had lines that were speaking to that we are going to hold them accountable with regards to the trip that they undertake if there is a, because they were referring to the trip that they took to New York, indicating that they will need to tell us the reason why they're going, how many people they are taking, and the anticipated cost and all of that. During the minister's response, I can try and look for that video. The minister confidently said the NYDA does not report to the portfolio committee. She does. And that was partially in contradiction because her presence there with the NYDA, it means she was there to account to the portfolio committee and addressing the issues that we would have raised to the NYDA. That is her responsibility. If we are raising issues to the NYDA, the minister must go speak to them, accompany them, bring them before the portfolio committee and be able to respond. I think these are the things that we need to speak strongly against, and also make it clear to the minister and to the NYDA board that they are being they do account before this portfolio committee, and it is what it is. It is the law of this country. There's nothing they can do about it. But I think this is an issue that needs to be addressed, Chair. I will find time and maybe ask our researcher to go look for that video so that I can share that response with you. But I think these sentiments are being driven by Minister Chikunga based on the response that she provided to myself. Chair, I think I will pause here for now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Kanile. We were in fact seated next to you when she made those comments, but she also took the same approach when we were in Johannesburg, suggesting that the entity reports to her and not to Parliament. And I think that is where this discussion emanates from. You would have recalled that when we said we wanted the reports on the meddlings on the affair of the board, around the appointment of the Audit Risk Committee, the issues around whistleblowers and the SCOPA meeting, she was opposed to us taking that avenue. In other words, playing that oversight role. She was not happy with us taking, making those resolutions in our budget vote. That's why she also said to you, the NYDA does not report to you. So that's why I put the matter on the table today so that we ventilate it here and quite clearly come up with our resolutions on a way forward. The next person is Honorable Kaula, and then Honorable Mkunu, followed by Honorable Chauke Adonis. And then we need to step off the item. Mam Kaula, Kapisa. Mama Mkunu, Mfondisi. Mam Kaula, Mama Mkunu, are you on the platform? Do you want to speak? Okay, let's go to the Honorable Chauke Adonis.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for the opportunity once again. To a certain extent or large extent, I've been greatly covered by my colleagues on the issue that has been ventilated. I think, Chairperson, with the legal opinion that we have received is quite clear and descriptive in terms of the role and responsibility of this portfolio committee over departments, entities, and institutions. And therefore, we should be exercising our constitutional mandate that is given to us as a portfolio committee to ensure that there are levels of accountability at all levels. Another one, Chairperson, would be in terms of what Dr. Letlape had, really passionately spoke about, is one area that we are also greatly concerned about in terms of how quickly can we move as a portfolio committee to ensure that we protect whistleblowers' identities and we do not suppress whistleblowers from identifying any areas where there might be maladministration, issues of governance within various institutions, and we should not be the ones who are then protecting and promoting it, but we should be in the forefront of really just calling against it, but also making sure that there is accountability ultimately. So I would humbly request that, Chairperson, that we do move with speed in that regard, and we do request that response as you have written to I think the CEO, the Chairperson, and the Deputy Chairperson, which you have indicated that we received the response from the Deputy Chairperson. One would have, as Honorable Shabangu had indicated, would have I really appreciated and expected that there would be a uniformed or unified report or response to the letter. But obviously, with an appreciation of some of the dynamics, we will then await the responses that would then come from the other heads within the institution of the NYDA. Additionally, Chairperson, I just wanted to also check through you if we have received any correspondence and communication also coming from the ministry in terms of the whistleblower complaints that have been brought forward, and also the correspondence that we have had with the NYDA, including these allegations and some of the steps that they have taken, and also what is the involvement of the ministry or the department in terms of advising and permitting or providing, let me say, providing guidance to the NYDA to exercise some of these processes. And I think I would like to also agree with Honorable Zodetsi in terms of having the NYDA furnish us with a policy, and perhaps maybe while we are waiting for them to appear before the portfolio committee, if they can please furnish us with the documentation and also making reference, maybe a summary report making reference as to what guided this particular decision for them to call for a forensic investigation, for them to put out an RFQ for forensic investigators to undertake this particular process. I think that is quite important for us. And I think perhaps, Chairperson, one must also look at whether there might be a misalignment with, entity or institution policies versus legislation and versus the laws of this country. That needs to also be analyzed, and perhaps Dr. Tembe can also assist us with that in terms of our review. Second to last, Chair, it would be in terms of the NYDA Amended Act. What does that look like in terms of our overall reach or powers? And I think Dr. Tembe did speak to that. But I think to a certain extent, Chairperson, we must have more power of exercising accountability and oversight. And I think this also comes with the responsibility of the portfolio committee, the responsibility of the ministry. I think you made reference in terms of perhaps the attitude or the utterances that the NYDA does not account to the portfolio committee and only accounts to the ministry, etc. But Dr. Tembe clearly outlined what our powers are, and perhaps one would feel that we are underutilizing the powers that are given to us as a portfolio committee, number one, and it is a disservice to young people. And this disservice, let me say, to women, youth, and persons with disabilities when we are unable to adequately exercise the powers that are given to us constitutionally as a mandate. Lastly, Chairperson, it would be in terms of the responses, just referring back to the responses, how many resolutions have been responded to. In our meeting with them in Johannesburg, we did request that several reports be finished to the portfolio committee. We did make some resolutions on them. How many of them have actually been acted upon? And how many would then be outstanding? If you're not able to perhaps give us that information, perhaps you might be able to furnish us with it in the group or in our communications platform. But I think it's quite important that when we as a portfolio committee take a resolution and give an instruction to government or to institutions and entities, they are compelled to comply. And therefore, we cannot have them nitpick what it is that they are going to respond to versus what we have resolved on. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chauke Adonis. Can I see, okay, I see no further hands. I want to see if Dr. Tembe would like to add anything at this stage before I speak to our resolutions, and then we step off the item.
I'm here, Stalo.
Sorry, Honorable Mkhunu. And then Dr. Tembe. I did call you earlier, ma'am. Sorry.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Stalo, and greetings to everyone here. I don't want to repeat what has been said. I am covered by Honorable Kanyile. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mkhunu. Dr. Tembe?
Once again, I think the...
Sorry, Chair. Chair.
Sorry, Dr. Tembe.
I'm sorry for interrupt Dr. Tembe. No, lana Chair, inkinga yesithuthwa network.
Okay, no, it's fine, Kapisa. You can kuluma now. But make it brief, Mama, just please, because we are running out of time.
Okay. No, lana bengifuna ukubheka noma ngicheck again uTembe ukuthi kune complaint eyayikhona before niya kuma interview la khona wayikhala ngokuthi wayifaka into zakhe kodwa akazi ukuthi ningamshortlistanga, although sazi ukuthi ama-complaint ahlezi ekhona. Bengifuna ukwazi ukuthi leli udaba lakhe nilugcineni lwenze njani ngoba ayibami ngiphele endlebeni. Angisabulali ubuthongo, efuna ukwazi esho ukuthi lolu daba uselufake ecourt. Ngake ngakusendela nawe Chair. Ngiyabonga. Commissioner.
Yes, no, that's a matter we are dealing with. Thank you very much, Kapisa. I will brief you. Can we just go to Dr. Tembe? I want to go to resolutions so that we go to our next items.
Thanks, Chair, once again. I think it's few to add, although I might have missed the question coming from Honorable Adonis. But in terms of reporting, which is in terms of the NYDA Amended Act number 11 of 2024, Section 6 says reporting by the agency. Actually, Section 6.1 says the agents must at least once every 2 years in the prescribed manner prepare and submit to the minister a report on the status of the youth in the Republic. 2, the agency must, in accordance with the PFMA Act, submit to the minister a report on the financial status of the agents. And B, supply the minister with information in connection with activities of the agents upon written request of the minister. 3, the minister must table the reports contemplated in subsection 1 and 2 in Parliament within 90 days of receipt thereof. 4, the agency must, by notice in the Gazette, publish the reports contemplated in subsection 1 and 2 within reasonable time after they've been tabled in Parliament. That is in terms of reporting by the agency. But in terms of oversight and accountability, they are accountable to this portfolio committee. And you must actually utilize the powers that are given to you So I think I might have missed the question coming from Honorable Adonis Chauke. If she can indulge me to repeat that question so that I tackle it. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Tembe. Honorable Chauke Adonis, 1 minute, please.
Chairperson, which question is Dr. Tembe referring to?
He said he missed. You can repeat. You've got another question as well that I know you want to ask. So just quickly ask what you wanted to still get an opinion on.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. I just wanted to get an opinion based on the board proceedings, obviously not wanting to interfere. I just want to find out, Dr. Tembe, in terms of when an item of allegations of this nature or anything where there is a particular interest or person of interest, what is the procedure that is prescribed of how the meeting should be run or who should then preside over the meeting? This is a concern because if I heard it correctly, the response from the deputy chairperson would indicate that resolutions were not then taken and terms of reference were not adopted by the board. Therefore, one would want to find out who then presided over that particular meeting, because we would know that there would be individuals such as the chairperson and the deputy chairperson who were persons of interest in this regard. Thank you very much, Chair.
Dr. Tembe?
Thanks, Chair. Okay, I get it now. I think normally in such a situation where the implicated parties are the chair and deputy chair, which in terms of the NYDA Act, the chair and the deputy chair are the executive directors, which means they are involved in the day-to-day running of the organization. I think in the meeting of the board, the board had to take a resolution to actually nominate one of the board members to preside in that meeting so that the issues are dealt with, because it's to avoid the conflict of interest. So that is what was supposed to happen in that situation. Secondly, on the issue where there is a response coming from the deputy chair, I doubt that, although I've read the letter, seemingly the deputy chair is responding to the portfolio committee in his personal capacity, because he says this is not a resolution of the board. Then the question that is asked is, in what capacity is he responding if he is not part of the resolution of the board? Because what has to be responded to the portfolio committee or to parliament, it's a resolution of the board, because the inquiry is from the portfolio committee to the board, not to members of the board, because once the issues are discussed at the board, then a resolution, so it's only one response that goes to parliament, not individual responses. So normally in an organization, the responsibility is on the chair, who is the first among equals. But if she or he is not available, then that is delegated to the deputy chair. So this is perhaps one of the marquee issues which are seeming to be manifesting before the portfolio committee on the NYDA board, because now there's a response coming from the deputy chair, but he says it's not the position of the board. So which means he's making his own observation and own response, which is not supposed to be the case. I think I've dealt with the issues as they've arisen. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tembe. Colleagues, I want us to step off the item. I think I want to firstly thank all of you for
Can I
contributing.
just interject? Just a brief one. Are we able to have the copy of
I'm going to share it.
the presentation by September? Thank you.
Yes, the response by the, okay, I'm going to deal with all of the items in the resolutions. So firstly, I want to say Honorable Chauke Adonis asked whether we have received any information from our last meetings, in particular as it pertains to our budget vote recommendations. We have received nothing from the NYDA. So that is the first response. The second issue is I fully agree the issue of a committee bill. I think once we are done with all our statutory appointments, which the CGE process will hopefully now be our last for a little while, I think at some point the committee, when we do go into a sort of workshop environment again, we should look at the NYDA Act. And if we think that there is an opportunity for us to strengthen the Act so that we are able to better oversight the issues over the NYDA, we should consider a committee bill. On the issue, Honorable Letlape said we must act and we must get info about whether they've already appointed this forensic investigator or not. I want to say, honorable members, as soon as I saw that article appearing in the paper, as I did flight the letter, I did act immediately by writing to them, reminding them of our responsibilities, of the issues that we raise with them in the budget vote process. I also asked for information about the this private investigator that is to be appointed, or this forensic investigators. And that is why I await the response. I gave them a deadline of the 5th of June. As soon as we get that response, I will share it with honorable members. As the issue has been flagged, I'm going to give you a copy of the letter from the Deputy Chair. He took the opportunity because as I did write, I wrote to the Chair, the Deputy Chair and the CEO. The Deputy Chair then took the opportunity to write back to me and to flag various issues of concern. And I think this then goes back to what we had observed, honourable members, when we were in Johannesburg, when there was clearly a tension among some of the members of the board, and then also this revelation of internal meddling in the affairs of the board. I was later told by the chairperson of the board, who came and stood next to me, to say she's not going to give me the report on the meddling in the affairs of the board, because in fact the people who are meddling in the affairs of the board is members of parliament, and that she was referring members of parliament to the ethics committee. I do not think that she's done that. And if that report is to come, we would also deal with it. But as I said, as we get responses, we will share that with honourable members. But for now, I think the response by the Deputy Chair points also to internal discord amongst themselves about what they have embarked on, which is quite clearly an illegal act, if it is to be true. But I thank you, honourable members. We will then, as Honourable Tsotetsi and Honourable Angel had pointed, Honourable Kanyile had pointed out, a meeting with the NYDA is now urgent. As I've said, we are trying to see if on the 12th, which is next week, Friday, that we can expedite this meeting at Parliament, and then also it being a joint meeting so that we can start with the whistleblower items and then go over to SCOPA matters. But we await the feedback of the SCOPA chair. If they are not available, we will proceed with the meeting and we will try and organize that. As I said, we have to finish the CGE process and then we'll go straight into that. But thank you again, honourable members, for contributing to this item. I think we have affirmed our oversight responsibilities. We will do so without fear or favour. And I think we want to declare once more that we stand with whistleblowers, and we as a committee intend to do everything to protect whistleblowers and to uphold the rule of law. And if the NYDA is now on the wrong side of the law, we as this committee will act. And colleagues, I will then let you know when we will call them and when we will have the SCOPA meeting. But for now, we need to shift our focus to the CGE matters. As you know, we are embarking on interviews this week, which will lead to us adopting, hopefully, our report next week, Tuesday, because as you know, it will have to serve in the National Assembly before we end this second term of Parliament. So let me hand over to Ms. Abrams and Ms. Silly, who will take us through the various reports, the SSA report, the HR screening report, and the public commentary. Over to you, colleagues.
Thank you, Chair. Yolanda will commence, Chair, with the HR, SSA, and then I'll take over in terms of the public commentary. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have received the Parliamentary Protection Services report on the SSA vetting of the candidates. And the report came back to say that all candidates have been vetted and there is nothing they can pick up. So everyone has been cleared. In terms of the HR verification report, out of the 14 candidates, only one is still outstanding. They are noting that the university where they have requested a response has not responded yet, but they have assured me that I will get the verification report this week. So I will follow up with them after this meeting, Chairperson. So only one candidate has not been verified in terms of the HR verification, but in terms of the parliament protection vetting, everyone we have been assured that everyone is cleared. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Ms. Silly. Ms. Abrams, do you want to take us through the public commentary and then also the draft program, which is subject to possible changes?
Sure, Chair. I'll just share the public commentary. Yolanda would have shared with members the Excel sheet. So the Excel sheet covers all comments that were received online. There were additional 9 comments that was received via email. I'm just waiting for Johnny, Mr. van Vesthuizen, to provide us with comments that came in via PDF. So those 7 will add to, the 9 will add to the public comments list and send it to members this afternoon. So what I will go through now with members is all the comments that we have received online. Just to provide an overview and reflect, members had shortlisted 14 candidates. The public comments we received was between the 13th of April to 26th of May. So in other words, during that time period, for the 14 candidates that were shortlisted, their CVs were placed on Parliament's website, and the public could have an opportunity to either give a comment online or send an email. So this document covers then all the comments we received online. The additional 9 comments via email, like I said, will be sent on the Excel sheet this afternoon. But Yolanda will talk to one particular comment on email once I've concluded this report. Again, just a reflection, as of midnight, the 26th of May, there were 239 comments that were received, and then 1 comment that came in just after midnight. So there were 240 comments altogether online. Members who would have seen that on your Excel sheet, it gives you the timestamp with the person that was commenting, as well as who they commented on. Based on the online comments, we received comments for 12 candidates. A total of, I will correct that, it's 239. The candidate that received the most public comments was Macheke with 123. Overall, that's mostly positive. there were 4 negative comments. 2 of them was for one candidate, a negative comment, and then one other negative comment was for another candidate. And there was another negative comment, but that had nothing to do with any of the shortlisted candidates. It's related to an applicant that applied, but that was not shortlisted. So in terms of the overview of the online comments, for Macheke, there was 123. Again, just to note, overall positive. For Van der Merwe, 38. Gumede, 27. Mogale, 10. Marais, 10. Blous, 8. Ngobo, 6. Yekani, 4. Deseko, 4. Mitsishana, 2. Buitendag, 1. And Gous, 1. The ones in yellow were on the online indicated the candidate name was Nkumbene, Mduao, Gumani, and Mahano. Of these ones in yellow, they did not actually relate to any of the shortlisted candidates. Some of the comments do not pertain to any one candidate, and the comment by Gumani related to a candidate that applied, but that was not shortlisted. So in summary, the positive comments received related to the candidate's leadership abilities, skill set and experience, character, ethical conduct, experience related to gender rights and contributions, as well as reflections on interpersonal interactions at work within the community. Then what we have further on here is just a summary of to give members a sense of the sort of comments that were provided. So for Macheke, that was 123. It focused really on disability rights, youth advocacy, leadership. It came from organizations and individuals, mostly largely endorsements that related to leadership qualities and their strengths. For Van der Merwe, 38, again, focus on gender equality, leadership, human rights, as well as LGBTQIA+ rights, came from a range of organizations as well as various individuals. For Gumede, focus on leadership and gender equality from a range of organizations and individuals. Several endorsements, there were 2 negative comments, and these we've highlighted in a column at the end. I've highlighted verbatim what was said in terms of lacks the experience needed to provide strategic leadership and advance, monitor, and gender equality. Reappointment poses a risk to governance, accountability, and advancement of gender equality. And then in terms of Marais, 10 comments, again, focus on gender equality, women's rights, disability rights, human rights and youth advocacy, coming from individuals and organizations. Largely positive endorsements. For Mogale, 10 comments, again, focused largely on leadership, gender equality, community work, women's rights, youth advocacy, coming from both individuals and organizations. 6 endorsements, plus there were 1 or 2 repeats. In other words, one comment that appeared twice, focusing on overall advancing accountability, institutional reform, and effective public institutions. In terms of the negative comment, there was 1 which indicated observed, again, taken it directly from what was stated, observed irregular and unfair practice in shortlisting candidate for the CGE commissioner position for the 3rd term, and explains why that is. In terms of Blous, 10 comments, focus again, gender equality, human rights and leadership, coming from individuals and organizations. 6 endorsements along with other endorsements as well, looking at strategic litigation, advocacy and community engagement. For Ngobo, there were 6, focus on leadership, community work, LGBTQIA+ rights and human rights, coming from a former CGE provincial manager, from Saward and Safi. Again, positive endorsements focused on leadership qualities, ethics and policy expertise, as well as LGBTQIA+ rights. Ikani got 4, focus on disability rights and gender equality, coming from individuals. Endorsements focused on board experience, which was praised, leadership qualities, and LGBTQIA plus rights. For DESECO, there was 4. Again, very similar themes coming from individuals, endorsements looking at gender equality and human rights. Masichana, 2 comments, disability rights, gender equality, coming from individuals and Sawid. Endorsements, again, focus on disability advocacy, governance, and human rights. For Buitendag, it was around community work and gender equality. For hosts, disability rights, leadership, and inclusion, and given due recognition internally for disability advocacy, leadership, neurodivergence, and the 2030 South Africa's National Autism Strategy. With respect to the comment from Gomani, which was noted as negative, it did not relate to a candidate that was shortlisted, but indicated that he found the process unfair, hard to trust, and appeared to design to remove current commissioners. Believe shortlisted commissioners may be eliminated in the interviews. He indicated the committee appeared to hostile to Ms. Naidu, and a qualified lawyer and current deputy chairperson, to other commissioners who applied. And then, as I've noted, the other 3 comments was coming from Government South Africa in relation to Cleo and Gabeni. For Mudua was in relation to Simon Vuma. It was an endorsement for someone in the Boyanala region, Northwest Province. And then for Kabinde was in relation to Professor Moya Gabo Magano. Chairperson and members, that gives an overview of the online comments. Just to reiterate again, this afternoon, members will receive those additional 9 comments on your Excel sheet that came in via emails. Having briefly looked at it, the email commentary was Blouse received 1 extra comment, actually 2. Naidu, again, there was a comment email from Gumani about that matter. There was a comment for Yekani, which was positive. And then Corruption Watch, chairperson and members, also sent an email which is more generic. It did not focus on one particular candidate, but provided lots of detail. And chairperson, with your indulgence and members, I think it would be pertinent for Yolanda just to read into record what the email from Corruption Watch was in relation to the public commentary. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's proceed. Ms. Silly.
I am sharing, Chair. Chairperson, we received a letter from Corruption Watch dated 29 May 2026. It is addressed to the Speaker of the National Assembly, the chairperson as well. And also in the email, there is it's copied to honorable members. It says, I will read, formal demand for written reasons in terms of the Promotion of Administrative Justice Act 3 of 3000 and notice of intended review proceedings. We refer to the letter of Bongani Khanyile Kalutuli, Inc., dated 5 May 2026. Since 2016, Corruption Watch has made written submissions to several committees in Parliament and to Chapter 9 institutions on the transparency of leadership appointment processes in the legislatures and institutions based on our observations. The aim and spirit of these submissions has been to strengthen and actively contribute to the better functioning of and improved transparency in the appointment processes of Chapter 9 and other related institutions provided for in the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. In furtherance of our work centered around countering corruption and advocating for transparent, accountable, and ethical leadership, we approached the Constitutional Court and obtained a judgment in the matter of Corruption Watch, MPC versus Speaker of the National Assembly and others, handed down on 1 August 2025. We note that the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, the committee, has yet to respond to the aforementioned letter requesting, inter alia, a full explanation of how the committee addressed the IT failures, missing timestamps, and platform inconsistencies referred to in the aforementioned letter. Confirmation of whether Ms. Naidu's application was among those affected by the irregularities identified in
Ms.
the
Silly,
aforementioned letter. Thank you,
Ms. Silly,
Chairperson.
sorry that I'm stopping you. This is not the letter dealing with their their submission on public comments. This is the letter which they sent supporting Ms. Naidu. Am I right or wrong? This is the one we've dealt with legally. I thought there was another letter where they were commenting and saying that we are doing well in terms of implementing the recommendations from the court, which was the public, they made a submission on the public comments. This is the legal letter we've responded to.
Okay, my apologies, Chairperson. I will check and reshare.
Okay. Let's just stop sharing this one. We have dealt with this matter. There was another letter which pertained to them also submitting through the public commentary a comment on our process and where they were saying we're doing well in terms of adhering to the court's pronouncements. But let's just quickly then go to the proposed program. We can always share that Corruption Watch later, although I felt it important that we should read the commentary into the record so that we can make sure that we've checked all the bases.
Chairperson, apologies.
Yes, Ms. Abrams?
Crystal just highlighted to me in the document I shared with members, I needed to highlight Gous as well. So Gous was, based on the public commentary, was a candidate that applied but was not shortlisted. So even though the candidate was not shortlisted, the person still got a public comment. So I just need to reiterate that to members. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So colleagues, the plan would be, if all goes well, that tomorrow we meet at 9 at 90 Plain at one of the new committee rooms, which is 3042, and that we start our interviews with the current commissioners, and then we would have 5 interviews on day 1. You will see that we will break at 10 to 3 as the House commences with the President replying to the presidency budget vote at 3. So it means we will really have to keep time and make sure that we stick to these time slots so that we are able to be in the House seated at 3. On Thursday, again, we'll do 5 interviews. This time around, we'll be at S12A. Again, 5 interviews, again, finishing at 10 to 3, allowing us to join the House at 3. And on Friday, we've got 4 virtual interviews. So this is fully virtual. We will not be at Parliament. You will be conducting the interviews on Zoom. And this is because some of our candidates, one candidate is undergoing an operation and others have got disabilities and therefore requested us to accommodate them on Zoom. On Tuesday, which is then our formal last meeting of this second term, we will meet at 10:30. We'll still let you know about the venue. We will then score. We will break for a bit. Our team will then collate the scores. We will proceed by adopting our outstanding minutes and reports, and then we'll come back and adopt the report just before lunchtime. So that is the proposed schedule. Mr. van der Westhuizen has issued purchasing orders for the flights for our candidates. So hopefully there will be no changes to our program, but if there are any changes, we will alert honourable members. Are there any questions or comments at this stage, colleagues, to the public commentary, to the SSA HR report, and to our proposed program? I see hands, but I wonder if they've been legacy of their legacy hands, because I see the hand of Dr. Leklape, Honourable Angel, Honourable Mkhunu, and Honourable Chalke Adonis. Are those legacy hands, colleagues?
Mine is not legal, is not a legacy hand, Chair.
Okay.
So not a legacy.
Okay. Honourable Kanile, is yours a legacy? Okay. It will be Dr. Leklape, followed by Honourable Chalke Adonis, followed by Honourable Tsotetsi.
Thank you, Chair. My question, because I'm as an alternate, I've not been inside the tent when these matters were raised. So I'm basically like a member of the public as an alternate. I'm just concerned and just want assurance that the Advocate NYDA matter is not going to derail this process. And what contingency measures have we ensured that the Advocate NYDA matter is not going to derail the whole process and set us back? That's my only question, and that's because I'm not in the tent. I'm relatively outside the tent on this matter. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leklape. Honourable Chalke Adonis.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think Dr. Leklape has also just captured what I was going to raise on, and perhaps, as you've indicated, the legal is dealing with the response to Commissioner Naidu's submission, and the submission also coming from Corruption Watch. Perhaps if we can also be enlightened on how that is being dealt with, and if it has any possibility of delaying the process of the interviews and the appointment of the CGE board, just as part of us ensuring that we do not want to find ourselves, having the courts reverse the process where we have made progress. If we can be guided, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honourable Tsotetsi.
Thanks, Chair. I think the issues are very much identical. The concern is regarding the issues around Commissioner Naidu, but I was going to suggest that if Dr. Tembe is still in the platform, maybe he guide the committee if he's having a proper grasp of the issues on what are the implications of her complaint moving forward. I think that is basically the issue that we would have wanted to raise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, honourable members. I'm going to see if Dr. Yes, Honourable Chalke Adonis.
Apologies, Chairperson. I do sincerely apologize. Also, just in terms of the reports that we received from HR, it was indicated that there is one candidate that is outstanding. I just wanted to find out if that would then affect the interview process. If we can just also be guided on that particular candidate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Silly, when they said they would have that. Yes, Honourable Shamango.
Sorry, Chair, my hand was up, but
sorry, I didn't spot it. Please proceed.
One issue that I wanted to ask is what Honorable Adonis has spoken to, the issue of HR with one candidate, because we don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we get to the interviews, we get to the interviews and then the documents are still incomplete. I think before we start with the interviews, that should be cleared completely, taking from the previous experiences. And then there's an issue that was raised by Makaula of a candidate that complains about not being shortlisted. I know that we cannot shortlist every candidate that has applied, but what led to this candidate to actually question the process, I mean, whether the process, but to actually raise the concern of her not being shortlisted? Was that matter looked into? Because I concur with what Honorable Hetlapen so this is said, to say these issues that are having concerns, they should not derail our process. At the same time, we would not want to see ourselves having started the process, then it's challenged legally. I don't know about the candidate that complained that he was not shortlisted. What led to that for her to think that she was supposed to shortlist? Was it looked into? Is there anything that can interfere with our processes, also including one that other members have spoken into, of that of a candidate Naidu? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Shabango. In fact, Dr. Tembe, do you want to comment? Because I'm not sure whether we should ventilate matters because they have sent us correspondence threatening, I don't know if it's threatening legal action. But what I want to say, honorable members, you were given a responsibility by Parliament, but also following a constitutional court ruling in which you as honorable members were tasked to receive applications and then to exercise your prerogative to identify the most suitable, the most qualified and best candidates to be shortlisted, which you did, and you did so very well, honorable members. And there is no provision that says anybody should be automatically considered or automatically shortlisted. And also the allegations that Parliament experienced any IT challenges are without merit, that's baseless. So the issues, as much as they are my concerns as well, honorable members, we obviously are doing well. The court had asked us to firstly make sure that we've got different avenues of asking possible candidates to apply. And so we allowed candidates to apply through post, through email, and through the online platform. So we adhered to that provision. Secondly, we were asked to make sure that we have an extended advertisement period, which we did. We were asked to have an extended public commentary period and that people would be able to comment for as long as they would want to. In other words, that they're not limited by any characters. We adhere to that provision. We have subsequently now received public commentary, which have been shared with you. So as much as we have been guided by the Constitutional Court, I feel that this portfolio committee has done everything that has been expected from us. And we have done so with the help of Dr. Tembe, and where we have now encountered a candidate saying, I've applied, I have not been shortlisted. Why have I not been shortlisted? Quite clearly, all other candidates that applied could have the same question for us. But you, honorable members, were the ones that went through the Excel sheet, went through all the documents, and then exercised your prerogative to shortlist whom you deemed to be the most fit to be interviewed. And we have responded, the Parliamentary Legal Services have responded, And I can't give you the guarantee that this won't derail our process. But what I do want to say to you is that our process has been flawless up until this point. Maybe Dr. Tembe would like to comment because I'm not the legal advisor here.
Thanks, Chair and honorable members. I think you've captured it very well, succinctly, Chair, because what is happening here, it's an incumbent commissioner, deputy chairperson of CGE, who's raising these issues to say that I've been in this position. So now on these interviews, I was not shortlisted. Then give me a reason, and the list goes on. It's non-exhaustive, but it's captured in that letter, which I think there was a letter of the 5th of May from her attorneys, and this one of the 29th of May coming from Corruption Watch. So it's for, as you said, the committee has responded because she needs a reason on why she was not shortlisted by the committee, the weighting of the committee, whether she was affected by the issue of timestamps, etc. So I'll say at the moment, as you said, the process has been flawless, but you cannot speculate to say no, because the only way to stop the process is through an interdict. But now there is no interdict because it's not automatic, the shortlisting that I'm currently serving. So it's not a renewal, it's a reappointment in terms of the Act. So that anyone who has served a term may be reappointed. So the Constitutional Court judgment made this invalid. So it's a reappointment process. So the argument being advanced by the incumbent is that she was supposed to be shortlisted with her colleagues. So we're hoping that there's nothing that is going to derail the process. Secondly, on the issue of the HR reports, I think it's a grave and serious concern because tentatively the candidates have been invited for an interview, but I think that will be one of the hurdles before the committee it makes its recommendation if the issue of HR is outstanding, because you may find that some of the issues actually perhaps the academic credentials they do not exist, which becomes another story. But the Act provides for the activist kind and the two requirements provided for by the Act. But as Honorable Shabangu insightful pointed out this issue, that it's a serious matter, but hopefully it will be sorted out before the committee make its recommendation. So that is all I can comment on these issues. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tembe. Ms. Silly, please just make a note that you communicate with HR to impress upon them that ideally we would want to have this outcome by tomorrow. I know you said this week, but definitely on Tuesday when we score, that HR report should have been cleared. Colleagues, thank you again for all your comments and questions. As I've said, we are 100% sure that for now, we have complied with everything that has been asked of us. We have done this process flawlessly. We are trying to go the extra mile in terms of being guided legally at all times. We have exercised our prerogative as members of this committee, and we are trying to adhere to every point or every issue or injunction that has been given by the Constitutional Court. So all we can try is to do better but I'm 100% sure that for now, honourable members, we must proceed as planned. So, colleagues, let's just now is the closed session because we will go to the issue of the booklet. Can we just, Ms. Silly, make sure that all of the outsiders leave our meeting at this stage so that we can consider our booklet? I don't see. I see Honor. Who's logged in with the device Honor? Parliamentary stream can also leave us at this point, please. We've got online Honourable Mkunu, Honourable Chaka Adonis, Honourable Tsotetsi, Honourable Shabango, Ms. Abrams, Kanyile, Levendal, Dr. Letlape, Mbiko. We've got an interpreter, Dr. Tembe, Ms. Peterson, Mr. Van der Westhuizen, and I see a Kimberly iPhone. I think that is Honourable Mayalola. I see Honourable Kaola. And then Honor WDY.
Can I be accepted on another device? I'm logging off here.
Yes, no problem, Honourable Shabango. Okay, I'm just wondering if the person with Honor can please identify him or herself, or please log out and parliamentary stream if you can do the same. We need to move to our booklet. We've only got a few minutes left and we still need to do our booklet.
Chair,